Hello, we're going to talk about the minerals lab, which is your very first lab. And so let's go to the website. So you can see if you navigate under the table of contents. Right, so there is lab assignments, and you want to be on lab minerals, lab 1. Okay, so I've added in some things. So for one thing, here's a box showing the 24 mineral samples. And this box is on reserve in the library. So if you want to check it out, you can check it out for 3 hours for use in the library. There's also a Mohs hardness scale in there so that you can check the hardness of the samples yourself or check to see if they're magnetic. There's a magnet in there also. There is at least one magnetic sample in your box. Okay, so the instructions for the lab say to read the procedures, read the lab instructions, print the mineral chart, watch the mineral pre-lab videos, watch the PDF tutorial on how to download the 3D PDFs, complete the lab, and take the lab assessment. So those are all the things that you'll need to do. Okay, so the online procedure, there's a PDF document, and so it basically is saying a lot of what was just up above. Read through the chapters and watch the videos, read the instructions, and examine the images. Now, there's more information here about using the 3D image, but you don't have to use the 3D image. There are plenty of other images to use. To have the 3D image work, you need to have Adobe Acrobat. So you can watch Professor Labou's video about about the 3D images and decide if you want to try to do that. You can get Adobe Acrobat for free for 2 weeks and then cancel your subscription. You can also use it on any college computer. Okay, so the identification tables are very important, and we'll need them to complete the chart. So let's go back and look at the rest of the stuff. Okay, so there's a video which says how to identify a mineral. It's very good. It's not made by Labou, but it's in his section. It also is available if you just click on mineral pre-lab videos. So I'm just going to click on that. And this shows the YouTube videos. So there's a 3D PDF tutorial. There's how to identify a mineral. And then there's instructions on how luster and clarity and color. There's streak color, hardness, crystal shape versus cleavage, and distinctive properties. You'll want to watch all of these. So about 20 minutes of videos to help you save time later if you understand everything to start with. Okay, so there are all these YouTube videos for you to watch. Now there's a navigation thing here too to help you get around. I'm just going to go back to, you also can just go back up. So I'm going to go back to Lab 1 Minerals. Okay, so you've watched the pre-labs. Now, while you've got your pre-labs out, it might be good for you to already have your PDF document printed. So this is the actual instructions for the lab. It has the mineral identification charts and definitions. So let's go look at that. But do notice that the 3 charts have headings that tell you when you have information about a mineral, which chart to look on to try to identify it. So that depends on if it's metallic, you look on table 1. If it has a distinctly colored streak, you're also going to look on table 1. But if it has no streak, and you're going to get that streak information from videos that we're going to that Labou has prepared. Okay, so that's under the mineral section down below. So anyway, so it has no streak. Then you would use table 2 if it's softer than glass, which means the hardness, which is something that you'll find out in those videos, whether it's softer than glass, which is 5.5, or if it's harder than glass. So if it's harder than glass, it makes a streak, cuts into the glass plate. Okay, so anyway, so you need to look at these and print them all out, as I highly suggest. So they talk about, it talks about what a mineral is. It has definitions of luster, color, streak, hardness, etc. There's the Mohs hardness scale here, and there are crystal shape definitions, which, by the way, a dodecahedron, that has 12 sides. So that's something you'll need to know. Hexagonal prism, that's 6 sides. Now, it might have a point on top too, like a lot of quartz crystals. Natural quartz crystals will have their 6 sides while they're growing, and that point at the end. Okay, so there's other definitions. So one thing you'll be looking at is like tabular, flat, table-like crystals. Okay, a rosette, a rose-looking shape. So anyway, some other great information here. Cleavage type, so that's how it will split. So basal cleavage, things split into thin sheets. And some will be cubic. They have 3 cleavage planes. So they will cut, they will have nice 90-degree angles. Okay. So then there's some of the definitions of the mineral groups, and then your procedure. So determine the luster. It's either M for metal or NM for nonmetal. Color, clarity, streak color, hardness. If it has cleavage, or if it's a crystal. So cleavage is how it breaks into planes. Crystal shape is how it grows. So for a quartz crystal, that natural 6-sided prism, that is its natural crystal shape. But if you try to smash a quartz crystal, with a hammer or something, then it doesn't break into nice hexagons or anything like that. It has like what's called a conchoidal fracture. So it doesn't have cleavage planes. So anyway, so it's a different cleavage and crystal shape. So you'll want to watch the videos so you understand that. Okay, now when you're done, check with the instructor, or while you're doing it and you're not sure, you can check with me and I will let you know if you're on the right track or not. And so identify it and then finish up the table. So anyway, so here are the charts that you're supposed to use for identifying. So table 1, metallic minerals, or minerals with a distinctly colored streak. So what you're looking at is M for metals and NM for non-metals. Okay, notice the hardness increases as you go down the table. So it starts out at 1, very, very soft, like graphite. Graphite is so soft, you can write on paper. In fact, pencils used to have graphite in them. Well, that is what we have in pencils still. They used to have lead. Anyway, so you can write with paper, write on paper with graphite. And so it feels greasy on your hands because the graphite comes off on your hands. Okay, so that's a good clue for that one. So some things, so there's a streak color. Sometimes the streak is the same color as the mineral, and sometimes it is different. So make sure you're paying attention to that too. And so anyway, so what you're going to look for is interesting features. And so when you're trying to identify it, some things will have a sulfur odor, things that have an S for sulfur, like galena, and spherulite, those will usually have a bad smell, and sulfur itself. Sometimes only when you powder it, though. And but it can leave traces on your hands if you handle them. So that's actually a clue as to it. Some things do have distinctive colors, like sulfur is a bright yellow. So it's very easy usually to see what is a sulfur. Okay, so table 2, minerals white, pale streak, or no streak. It's softer than glass. And so in that case, they have a color. Sometimes they can be dark green, but still, again, not necessarily have a distinctive dark green streak. And so here, there's no streak. So, but what you're looking at is you're looking again for those properties. Some things are pearly luster, splits into thin, flexible, transparent sheets. So that's basal cleavage when it does that, remember? Some things break into cubes, like halite, which is salt, table salt, sodium chloride. It has a salty taste, but we don't necessarily recommend that you're actually going to taste the samples. Okay, and so some things will effervesce in HCl, that's hydrochloric acid. And so some will have a rosette habit. So that's that flower shape. Anyway, so so they give you lots of clues, and you're going to have your samples and try to figure out which one is which. And then you go on to when it has a harder than glass. So these range from 5 to 10 in hardness. 10, of course, the hardest thing is a diamond. There are no diamonds in your box. Um, but you'll be looking for interesting things. So one thing here is this striated. Striated means it has kind of a little sort of stretch marks in it, or like marbled beef. So it's called exsolution lamella. And so anyway, so you'll see little sort of white stripes in it. So some of these are striated, some are blocky. These are both. These two feldspars are important, potassium feldspar and plagioclase feldspar. And what's the difference? One is potassium here, that's K, and one has sodium in the same place, or calcium. The colors on this one, over here it says pink, but you should probably make an addition there. It's not just pink. It also can be in a beautiful greenish blue shades like cyan or teal, and it also can just be white. Potassium feldspar actually has 3 possible colors that it can be, whereas the plagioclase feldspar is just white or whitish blue. But they are both what is called blocky because they have 2 cleavage planes at 90 degrees. So they'll have some 90-degree angles, but they're but not 3 90-degree angles. So they don't make cubes, but they have at least some right angles. Okay, so keep an eye out for clues to things. Let's see, where is another word? Hematite has the word specular, and specular means sparkly. Okay, so in general, it's a grayish stone, but it may be reddish because it has iron in it, and iron rusts. And so it's specular, it's sparkly sometimes. It's cool to the touch. So if you get a chance to go to the library and handle the samples, some of them will feel cooler than others. Some will be slippery. So touch can also be important when identifying elements or minerals. Okay, so anyway, so you've got 3 tables, so it's a good idea to print those off so you can underline things, check out definitions, and try to identify your materials. All right, let's go back to the lab. Okay, so you've watched your videos, you've printed off your PDF document, but you do need to print off your blank minerals chart. So there's a blank one for you to fill out. And here's one with number 1 completed, so you can see what it will look like. So this is what you'll actually turn in. And so the 24 elements in the box need to be identified. And so you want to print this off also, or print off your blank one. And here's showing with the first one filled in. So the first one is identified as quartz, and it is in the mineral group silicate. Now, how is it identified? Well, it has a non-metallic luster, hardness of 7. Its streak is white, so you don't see it. It says the colors vary because one thing about quartz is it can be pink, it can be gray, it can be actually even purple sometimes. So quartz is very deceptive, but of course often it's clear. And so usually you'll have several different colored samples to look at. It doesn't have cleavage, makes that conchoidal fracture. And so anyway, so over here, other distinctive properties. Okay, that's where you would try to put in those special clues just for this one. And so you can see they talk about the different translucents, the hexagonal prism pyramids that it could be in. That's those cubic shape that we, not cubic, the six-sided prism that we talked about. And it can be a variety of colors. Okay, so anyway, so you're going to be filling out each of these tables for the different mineral samples. Some of them are already filled in for you. So like 4 and 5, it's already got non-metallic filled in. Some of them he's put in when the different cleavage patterns, because those are sometimes hard to identify. Okay, so you have to print off the mineral chart and fill that in, and that's going to be what you turn in. Okay, so once you've looked at all this and finished everything, then of course there's a lab assessment. All right, so let's look at the mineral samples and what's in there. And if I just click on this, it doesn't show the stuff that I put in here, extra words. So I'm going to click on it over here at the side, mineral samples. And for some reason, that brings it up properly. And now you've got an expand all or collapse all. So let's just leave it on expand all. So I've put in a picture of the box here that you could, if you want to, print to have to look at what they might look like. It's nice to be able to look at all 24 at a time, so you can look at differences of them. There are mineral hardness videos. So this is where you're going to get the hardness for the mineral. And so click on that. And here he is testing each of the minerals, the plates. So you've got a black ceramic plate, a white ceramic plate, and a glass plate. And you're going to scratch those with the mineral to see if the mineral scratches the plate, or to see if the mineral gets pieces rubbed off and that leaves a streak. Okay, so here you're testing to see if it will scratch glass, and here you're testing to see if you can get a streak. And you also have a nail and some pennies to go by the Mohs hardness scale. So here we have some quartz, and he's going to show us. Okay, so you're going to watch, oops, I'm sorry, all of these. So there are 24 of these, one for each sample. Okay, and so you want to watch all of those, and that's where you're going to get your hardness values to fill in your tables. Okay, so then you watch another set of videos. These are distinctive properties, so this is another way to differentiate the different minerals. So watch those. Some minerals have distinctive properties, like this first one shows fluorescence under ultraviolet. Some of them you can put acid on them. Anyway, so each of these is showing you that certain minerals have certain distinctive properties. Okay, so it's not one for each one because not all minerals have interesting properties like these. Okay, and so then having that information, you can go on to look at the different materials. Each mineral has its own set of images. Now, the 3D one, if you push on that, just click on it, it's not going to show anything. You have to download it and then open it with Adobe Acrobat. So follow the instructions for that. Okay, but the other ones, you can just click on them and you'll see the image. Okay, so and like I said, you don't have to look at the 3D ones. These are perfectly fine, usually for identification. And here we have quartz is a mineral number 1, and you can see it has different colors here to show you. Rose quartz, some purple quartz, which is called amethyst, and there's an actual crystal of quartz. Okay, and so anyway, so you've got pictures. Now the other thing you have in Mineral 1 is you have more information about the streak. So so it's written there, so you don't actually even have to watch the image, and you did just watch the video, so you probably don't actually need to click on that last one. Okay, so for each mineral, you're going to look at the information and fill out your sheet and try to identify them. And I will help you out with clues and stuff like that. So I'll be sending out more information, but also don't forget to contact me if you have questions. Okay, so hopefully that is all that you're going to need. Um, so when you're done with your chart, there will be a Dropbox for it. So I'll make a Dropbox for the chart. Okay, and then don't forget to take your assessment, which is not due for another week. All right, that's that. So good luck.